Good morning from Hidden Treasure. So we are putting together a rain gutter garden system. This is for the okra plants, and this is inspired by a guy named Larry Hall, who's in Brennard, Minnesota. The whole concept of this, it's a self-watering system. You plant it and forget about it. So this is the rain gutter. This is actually version 1 of his concept. It has grown into a 4-inch PVC, but I'm just doing this one because I have it. So why buy something I don't need? And so what I'm going to be doing here is I already had some wood available. So this was from another project that I had, and I took it apart, and this is what I'm going to use. And it's pretty much the exact same height. So if you look at it right there, it is pretty much right flush with the top of that rain gutter, which works fantastic. And so as this goes on, I'll show you that the net cup, well, I'll just show you now. Why not? All right, so here is a net cup. This is a 3-inch net cup. And this will sit in the bottom of my grow bag. And my grow bags are in that box right there. And so I will cut a small hole in the bottom of that bag, and this will rest inside of here, where it will be used as a wicking, because it'll have the peat moss in here, and then the water will get sucked in and then go up into the bag about 12 inches, keeping it wet, moist, so that the plant can take what it wants. And that way it doesn't have to depend on me. My version 1 of my garden was not so wonderful. In fact, I think we only got about 3 tomatoes. And then I tried a winter garden with some strawberries, which is not usual, at least not that I'm aware of, and got a handful. So this year we have 2 of these already in PVCs, and then we really like okra. And so we're looking forward to a really healthy okra harvest. And so I'm using wood, like I said, that I already have, so I'm just repurposing it, don't want to buy more. And I am going to use 2 of these types, so you can see the other one over there. I'm using 2 of these as the support, and then these 2, they're not 2x4s, but I just cut them I cut them down into that. They were actually longer boards. As you can see, they run in parallel with the gutter, and this is because I was doing a strawberry strawberry gutter garden, which didn't happen, and so the duct tape is there to cover up the holes. I did that with another one. It works fine. And then to brace these, I'm going to use some 1.5 by 1.5. So I'll and that will hold that in place. And then I'm going to use some other screws that have a rubber washer on it to be able to secure the rain gutter to the wood, and that will help everything to basically stay as one piece. And then I'll show you in the garden how I'm going to use a combination of some dirt and some brick to level this out so it's equal in height and elevation, so that the water stays level in here. And then later I'll be ordering a float valve that will go right here and have a connector that goes into here, which will go up and down and let the water come into it by itself. And that's why it's called a self-watering system, because it's going to have the valve which will let water in when it's too low and stop the water from coming in when it's at the right height. And that way, whenever we go on our mission trip in July, this will be, we won't have to have anybody come and water it, which will work great. All right, so my next step is I need to trim this down a bit to right about here, and then I'm going to secure this to this with this, and then secure this to this with the screws. All right. Okay, so the construction is done on this. It is secure. So as you can see here, from the base, I put a 1.5 by 1.5, securing this down to here, securing this into this. Did the same thing on all 4 sides. Easier view, right there and right there. And then with the rain gutter, secured it right there and somewhere. Did 6 of these. So as you can see, maybe, that it's got that rubber washer on there. And so this whole thing is quite secure. So it's all one piece now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring it out to the backyard and I'm going to level it out. But I have another one of these I need to do also because I have 10 okra plants that I need to do. And this one's probably only going to handle about 1, 2, 3, 4. While the other one's going to have to handle the other 6. So I have a much longer one outside. So I'm going to do the exact same thing with that one. And I will take you back outside whenever I am done. That took a few more minutes than I expected, but everything worked. So as you can see, it is long, and it's got all of its, so it's got a support beam here. These are the 2 parallels that go with the rain gutter. I'm using some 1.5s to secure it into the parallel and into the support beam. And then because I didn't have a long enough piece, I took 2 pieces. And as you can see here, so cut here, puzzle piece them together, put a hole, drill a hole here, and on the flip side, connect them, and it becomes one piece of wood. Obviously not perfectly structural as if it was one piece, but it's holding. And plus, I have these bolts on throughout the entire piece. So this whole thing should hold quite well. I might end up adding one more of these right here because there's going to be a lot of weight from these plants, from these okra plants on here. And so to help prevent the sagging, I'm probably going to put one more right here to help level out and add a little bit of additional support. So that's what I'll probably end up doing. So as of now, though, that is it. And this, as you can see, is pallet wood. This is the part where the forklift thing goes in. And so all of this is just reclaimed wood from, actually I think all of this is pallet wood now that I'm thinking about it. Some of it was just normal pallet wood and other parts of it were skids, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to bring this over there in the backyard and let's level this thing out and make sure it's all waterproof. Alright, here is the finished product. Now, it's not done as professional as I would have liked to have normally done it. Usually I would put a bolt on each side of here and then adjust it to be able to make it even both this way and this way. In this case I did not do that. Instead I just kind of messed with the ground and added a couple of spacers in between. But I have some water in here, you can't really see it very well. So I have, that was almost bad. Well, now you can see it kind of moving around there. I have water in there and everything is good, and used Mr. Leveler here and all is good. So now all that's left is I will put a floating valve floater here and here. But for now I have several okra plants that are very much ready and waiting to be potted. So these guys are extremely ready, and you can already see that they're starting to get some good leaves here. I'm super excited about this. We are big okra fans, and so I would like to get these guys in the pots or the grow bags. So yay. Alright, I'll show you the finished product after. Alrighty, so here's the first okra plant that's going to be planted in the grow bag. So the way that I did this is I literally just use a pair of scissors, turn this upside down, and come here. X marks the spot right there, and then you just use scissors and you cut. Can you see it? And you cut the hole. Now the goal is you don't want it to be a very big hole, because you want this net cup to go down into that hole and be snug. So I'm going to take this little guy out. Let's see if I can, I don't know if I can, I need a tripod. I'm going to take this little guy out. You can already see the roots right there doing fantastic. And I have my peat moss over there in a bucket that I already have wet. And I will pack the net cup with the peat moss so that it is the wicking. And then put that in there along with probably about a 1/2 inch more of it. And then I will put the bag on the gutter over there. And then I'll plant this and number 1 will be done. So be right back. Okay, so something I forgot about. It is very difficult to be able to put a grow bag on one of these because the sides will overhang. So when this becomes full, this part and this part will droop over, and that isn't good. So what you have to do is put either a bucket lid, which is what I have right here. You can see bucket lids that it sits on, it rests on, otherwise it would overhang just like what you see right here. So to avoid that, I don't have any more bucket lids, and I don't want to buy any, but I do have these tote lids. And so what I did, I got 2 bags, and I have my 3-inch hole drill right here, and I've already cut the hole in the X marks the spot. Same thing, X marks the spot. And I will drill my holes right there, and this will be what holds up the grow bags. Plus, it'll also help to keep the light away from the water, as well as the mosquitoes away, because it's going to be covered. So that's also an added plus. So I will be able to probably put 2 more of these on here. So this one will have 4, which is what I originally anticipated. So I will show you the after I've done the hole, my marks, and yes, they are a bit off, so I'm just going to center them here, and then that will give me my hole that I'll use to be able to drill my 3-inch holes. This is what the net cup will actually sit in. Okay, the 2 holes are cut, so now you can see that once the bag is on top of here, so there's the bag, goes on top, and then you take your net cup full of peat moss, wet peat moss, and you put it inside. Not a bad thing if the hole is too small. Oh, nope. It's a very snug fit, which is not bad. I'd rather be a little too snug than too big. Done that in the past, and that doesn't turn out so well. Alright, I might have to make that slightly bigger. But there we go. And now you can also see that it goes down into here. So once the water level is where it's supposed to be, that will be submerged. Okay, and this is from another batch that I made of Larry's potting mix. And it is a very good recipe, as I understand it. And this year I'll be using it on, I've used it on all my stuff here. So we're having good results so far. Looking forward to seeing what will happen. But the ingredients are, so these are 7-gallon grow bags, okay? 7-gallon grow bags. So the actual size apparently is about 5. So that's why you get 7, that way you get the actual 5. Same cost actually, at least on Amazon. And so it is 2 5-gallon, so these are 5-gallon also, 2 5-gallon buckets of peat moss, 1 5-gallon bucket of, I use aged horse manure, as well as a handful of Epsom salt and a 1.5 cups of garden lime. And then if I have it, I add, I don't have any more, but I was using also worm castings. So you add all of that together, and it is an awesome ingredient that plants just love. So I am going to use this and fill that little dude up, and then I'm gonna plant Mr. Okra over here. And yeah, sorry if I made you dizzy there. Okay, Mr. Okra is now in. I actually ran out of potting mix, so when I make the next batch, I'll need to top it off all the way up, because once this settles, it's actually going to go down about an inch or two. So if I leave it like this, then there's going to be a pretty big gap between the top and the bottom. So what I'm doing now is I'm just giving it a really good saturation, because it's going through transplant shock right now. So the net cups help to reduce that. I've had them in there for probably about 4 days or so. And so now I'm just giving it a good saturation, and by saturating it will help the net cup down there. In fact, put some more water in here. Will help the net cup down here to be able to maintain the moisture level that's going to already be in the potting mix. So they just kind of work hand in hand. And again, the whole reason for doing this method is that you plant it and forget about it. So I'm very thankful to have come across Larry's videos and the other people who are all part of that group. It's been extremely educational. And so this is the last step we're going to be doing for this season for the garden. And then, as my wife has said, let's watch it work instead, because I don't like to stop. So yeah. Alrighty. Thanks. Bye-bye.